Ask you guys if you're ready. It would help if I was. All right. Good evening, everyone. Why do I do that? I get bad habits from Rick Mitchell, I think, because he does that, doesn't he? When he starts his show, he's like, "Do us do all right." Well, now he's got me doing it. Anyway, welcome to tonight's episode of the Wrestling Show. With us tonight is Jason Stewart, but he had to go take care of something, so he'll be back in a bit. But we also
False
have
alarm. False alarm. I'm back.
Okay. So
Good evening.
Jason is here.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. I believe first time on this show we have Chris from the 740. How are you tonight, Chris?
I'm doing great. Thanks for the invite. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. And as always, we have Kingpin, the co-host of the show, who for some reason StreamYard doesn't like to let have the co-host abilities and stuff, so he gets screwed on that front.
Yeah, every time, man. This internet stuff ain't for me, man. So what's up, everybody? Tactical Fud's out in the chat. Ashley A is out in the chat. Welcome, folks. And what an excellent pleasure to have Chris from the 740 with us tonight. Thank you, Chris.
Well, thank you for having me on. I was going to have fun.
Yeah. So how much have you guys seen, not necessarily in ring, but of the out of the ring this week stuff that's been going on?
Zero.
I know. Well, don't say zero, because I did text you about the one thing last night.
That, yes.
Yeah, fortunately, I'm with Kingpin. I'm like 0 or less than 0. So I'm ready to get the updates on it. I guess all I can do is comment on what you tell me.
All right, where do we want to start? With Edge having his final match in Toronto. Not necessarily his final match, but the final match in his home that he'll ever have in his hometown.
No, I saw a post on that like a week or two, and it read to me like it was his last match, like he's done.
Not necessarily, and we'll get to that when we talk about that story. Do we want to start with more CM Punk drama this week? Or do we want to go with this probably the biggest story to come out of this week, and Daniel Cash Webster, or Wheeler, why did I say Webster? Daniel Webster was an attorney back in the 1800s. Cash Wheeler being arrested for aggravated assault with a firearm in Orlando, Florida.
Well, since we're all gun guys from the start, and let's start with the story that involves the gun.
All right, Jason and Chris, you want to start with that one?
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right, so let me do a little screen share here. Give me a second. Gotta find the right dang window.
While you're thinking about that, I got a new laptop, Rich.
Oh, did you?
My Grease Lightning, the kid that I used to work with, sold me his old one for $100 like last weekend. I still haven't turned it on yet, but I got a new one.
Ah, there it is. For some reason, everything was out of the normal order when you go to open tab and share it. All right. Somebody just popped in. Yep, Buck's here. Hey, Buck.
Woo woo. What's up, Buck?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, man.
A crazy week, man. A crazy week. So.
Yeah, you ain't got to tell me about it.
Yeah. Pro wrestling was insane this week. And I'm not even talking about stuff that went on in the ring. We're starting with this story here. AEW Tag Team Champ Cash Wheeler arrested in Florida for aggravated assault with a firearm, County Records show. The arrest warrant was issued back on July 28th. All 8 world champion Daniel Cash Wheeler was arrested in Florida. Orange County records obtained by the Orlando Sentinel showed. The 36-year-old Wheeler was charged with 1 count of aggravated assault with a firearm, according to county records. No, excuse me. AEW issued a statement shortly after learning of Wheeler's arrest, saying, "We are closely monitoring the situation," and adding that the professional wrestler is fully cooperating with local authorities, according to the Orlando Sentinel. The arrest warrant was issued on July 28th, and he then pled not guilty on August 3rd. Wheeler and Dax Harwood are the current AEW Tag Team Champions, FTR. This is just about them being at the latest show. Just trying to get back to the part that actually matters here, not all the fluff. According to Pro Wrestling News in the Wrestling Observer, at a hearing held on Friday, state prosecutors reportedly said that Wheeler's arrest appeared to be connected to a road rage type incident. At some point during the unspecified incident, Wheeler allegedly flashed a handgun at the alleged victim. So, again, the story is in progress, so that's what we have.
Let me translate from the way it seems to me. Is some dude was probably talking all kinds of trash to him, and he brandished his gun. Like he lifted up his shirt and said, "If you want something, come get some."
Well, no, because this was road rage, which means he would have been having to drive his car.
Oh, okay, that's right. I wasn't paying attention. So then he probably waved his gun at the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it may have been somebody cut him off and he pulled his gun on him, and we don't know something along those. We don't know the full details on that front yet.
Misinformation.
So
what did you say? AEW suspended him or what?
No, they haven't taken any action yet. They're waiting to see how it goes. They're monitoring the situation to see how it progresses.
So in other words, he's going to get suspended when he goes to jail or whatever, or probation, and then they're going to have a tournament for the tag team titles.
Well, here's the catch. In about a week, there's a little pay-per-view going on over in England, and FTR is scheduled to defend those titles against the Young Bucks. Generally speaking, when you have been arrested for a felony charge, you're not allowed to leave the country.
Yeah, that's a pretty valid point.
So what happens now? On that front, I was scouring AEW's Twitter today trying to see if they had made any announcements or anything, but they have not.
They are going to let him go over there. He's going to do the match. He's going to win. Then he's going to haul ass, and they can't find him. Then he'll be a mass wrestler over in New Japan Wrestling.
Here's the problem with that situation. You guys remember a little while ago when Jeff Hardy was arrested in Florida? He was not permitted to go over to the UK, and he was working for AEW at the time. The UK has a history of barring people from entering the country if they're under felony indictment in another country.
Yeah, a lot of these other borders that aren't ours are pretty difficult to cross if you've got any kind of record.
Heck, Jimmy Uso, he wasn't even really charged with anything but drunk driving, and he wasn't allowed to go to Canada.
Yeah, Canada's border's pretty strict.
Mm-hmm. So this could throw some major monkey wrenches in a lot of storylines going forward. And it looks like AEW changed the one poster, too, that they had on their Twitter, where it only has Dax Harwood on the poster now and not him and Wheeler both on the poster like it originally had.
So Wheeler's the guy with the hair, right? And the beard?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, for everybody out there listening live now and in the future, flashing your gun at somebody's not 2A at all.
No.
So another example of just because you own a gun don't mean you're 2A.
Doing stupid things, it's a perfect example of play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Well, how about, I mean, it's popular right now. What about the F around and find out wheel?
Yep, that too.
It's pretty stupid, man.
All right,
Yeah,
so since I have no knowledge of wrestling except for wrestling when I was a kid, so this AEW, like how big of an organization is this compared to say the WWE?
they are the second biggest wrestling promotion in the United States right now.
Okay, cool. See, I'm gonna learn stuff tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of forgot. Chris is brand new to this.
Yeah. I know they got at least one wrestler Chris has probably heard of. Chris Jericho works for them.
Yep, definitely heard of him.
Yeah, right now the way I describe it is by television shows. So there's WWE, and they have Monday Night Raw, NXT, which is like a minor league, and then Friday Night SmackDown. Those are all that WWE television shows. And then AEW's got a Wednesday show, a Friday show, and a Saturday show. And then there's another thing called New Japan, which is basically just Japanese wrestling. Like, you don't really get too much of that over here. You'll get a lot of the new Japanese wrestlers on AEW because they're not all like Japanese guys, but most of them are, or at least that type of Asian type of dudes. And then there's Ring of Honor, which is ultimately AEW. So there's two companies right now. You
Well,
can
you have
kind of,
Impact. There's also Impact, which is the third biggest promotion. Because I'm counting Ring of Honor in with AEW at this point, since Ring of Honor was bought by the owner of AEW.
and when I was counting AEW and New Japan is the same thing too.
Well, they're not the same company. They just have a partnership.
Right, but for Chris's sake, they can be the same company right now.
And you do have, well, there are actually three of the stables in New Japan are also in AEW. So because you got Best Friends, who are members of Chaos. Then you have the Bullet Club has their own little branch in AEW, and Osprey's faction, United Empire, are also active in AEW.
What he meant by that is he agrees with me.
I was just adding to what you said. I didn't say I disagreed with you. I tell you, man, you need thicker skin, Kingpin. Good Lord, man.
Hey man, I'm sensitive.
So, what about any other guys? Got any thing you want to say on this front? Yeah, man, this could really throw, like I said, this could throw some monkey wrenches into things.
Yeah, he's not going to be leaving the country, and stupid to pull your gun if you're not going to shoot it. And let's go ahead and go get CM Punk out. Unless Chris has got something to say. But,
Nope, I'm good.
Buck.
No, go for it.
Real quick, the Jason's point about don't draw your handgun if you're not going to shoot it. In Tennessee, that is a crime. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you know those weird laws that some states have? Apparently it's still on the books in Tennessee that you're not allowed to reholster your firearm before firing it.
Well, is that any dumber than the Maryland, like, brandishing law? For instance, brandishing law in Maryland means if I'm at the grocery store and I bend over to pick up the stuff off the bottom shelf, and what do they call it when, my gun shows a little bit? I print too much and you can see my gun, that could be considered brandishing.
Well, Florida, you know, ironically, since we're talking about Florida with this case, if you're concealing carrying and somehow your weapon becomes visible, you can then be charged with carrying an unconcealed firearm because they don't have open carry there. Even if you have your concealed carry permit, you still cannot open carry in the state of Florida. Unless you're going fishing or camping.
Yeah, we can't open carry in Maryland either unless you're like a security of some sort or a cop or whatever.
That's probably where your brandishing law comes from. But yeah, it's crazy. Even states that you would think are gun friendly, you get crazy laws like that. Florida's a perfect example. Which, okay, with that in mind, now that I said that, what if he was carrying in a shoulder rig and he pointed to the guy, and I don't remember if he's left-handed or right-handed, and if he's carrying a shoulder rig and he's left-handed, if he pointed at the guy and it just showed because he lifted his arm and he was wearing like a, an unbuttoned shirt over top of a t-shirt, or he's wearing a jacket or something, and the gun becomes visible.
Well, maybe we're looking at this in all the wrong way. What if that, what we call the strange and ridiculous law, what if that's really meant to protect us? Like nobody wants to walk around and see you in your plastic Glock, you know? Maybe it's more of a decency thing.
Hold on.
You're supposed to be dressed, like decent when you're in public and shit. So, like, you should get a ticket if I see your fucking Glock and your fucking G magazine hanging out the end of it.
Hey, sir, that is an insult. I do not own a Glock.
Not you, anybody out there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, he said you, so I mean.
Well, I just used Glocks as a reference. I included that phrase, plastic pistol.
Glock people don't carry their guns. Their pants are too goddamn tight.
I thought that's what people said about CZ owners, Buck.
Those people are just haters.
Yeah, I know, aren't they?
Since Chris invited me out there today, and he had that new Beretta, I thought, well, we'll make this a plastic pistol day. So I broke out my M17. It's the only plastic gun I got. And it's like FDE and tan and every other color in the fucking world, right? I realized I picked it up and I was looking at it because that fucking gun ain't no different than like a plastic dick. I stuck it down between my legs and was fiddling around. Because that gun, it looks like that gun is like a fucking dildo. I should have told Chris to take it away from me and take the batteries out and then go wash his fucking hands.
Wasn't an electric plug-in dildo from ancient Egypt?
Yeah. I swear that plastic, that is the that's the only thing I could think of when I picked it up. It was like, because I haven't even touched it in a few years. I think I only shot it maybe one trip to the range. And I was like, man, that is exactly what that is, man.
Does Chris get the reference about the electric plug-in dildo from ancient Egypt? I don't know if he saw that show or not.
No, I didn't see that one.
You gotta go back a couple weeks on This Week Unloaded when Scotsman was on. Jason pulled up.
I listened to that. I must have missed that, but I didn't miss it.
It's about the ancients had light bulbs.
Yeah, Jason pulls up this picture.
I showed the picture. Yeah.
And I'm like, that looks like an electric plug-in dildo.
That is still probably one of the best shows ever in the history of YouTube chats. That show was. That was a train wreck.
Yes, it was.
That seems to happen on your channel an awful lot, Rich.
Yes, it does.
If you go through the years, Rich's show has been some off-the-wall stuff.
Yeah, remember that's the show where at one episode we were talking about cars that run on human feces. You lift the driver's seat, you sit down, you take a dump while you're getting it fuels the car. Yeah, that was Rob D's doing that episode.
So I take it Chris never met Midnight Range?
No, that was before my time on YouTube.
Oh, his show.
Heard a lot about it.
His show would go down some rabbit holes too.
Yeah, Midnight was awesome. I love that dude, man.
Yeah.
We made a perfect 10 because he's quite a large man. But Midnight
Yes.
is not a small dude by any means.
No.
And I'm a beanpole, so when we got together, we made a perfect number 10. Like I was the 1 and he was the 0.
No. Midnight was a big dude. But I mean, our shows perfectly complemented each other. You go down one set of rabbit holes on my show, and then you just wait for his show to come on. You go down a whole separate other set of rabbit holes.
At the beginning, you'll remember this, Rich, but at the beginning of the 2-hour-long introductions, that was so fun. Oh my god, we'd have 2-hour-long introductions, and then do a 4-hour-long show. And then about halfway into that, it started getting like kind of obnoxious, and I think Midnight was starting to get a little bit pissed about it. And then after that, he stopped and started shortening them up. But man, holy crap, dude, we'd be sitting there, and one person would talk for a half an hour about absolutely nothing during the introduction.
Oh, and whenever I would be on the show, and he'd be like, "So, how'd your show go, Rich?" It'll be like a 45-minute recap of what we talked about on my show.
Hey, man,
Which had just ended like 10 minutes before, by the way.
we'll talk about this later. But I already told you I was thinking about restarting the Monday show. But like putting effort into this and making this a decent thing, right? Uh, Maybe I'll try to incorporate a little bit of that midnight range style in there somehow. Not copy the man, but be influenced by it. Maybe we'll talk about that.
Hey, Bernie.
Hey, Bernie.
I think one of the funniest moments was on my show. We had done a bracket, and then everybody gets over to Midnight show. They're like, hopefully there's not going to be a bracket. And what did Midnight have on the schedule? We did a bracket. So we had back-to-back shows with brackets.
I was just thinking about, we haven't done a bracket in a long time. I was just thinking about that last night. You need to do a bracket, Rich.
On what?
What's going on, Bernie?
What's left?
I don't know. We'll let the chat pick.
Oh, good lord. Well, I don't think we'll do it on this show, but we'll do it on
Oh yeah,
Unloaded.
but yeah, we need to do some brackets again.
Yeah. We'll figure something out. I just got to figure out what the bracket would be on.
Next week on this show, you could do a bracket of all-time best wrestler.
We've done that already.
Updated.
Yeah, really.
Because now we got CM Punk back. And
He wouldn't make the first bracket. Why would it be on the second?
And Orange is the man of the hour now. You know?
Oh, hell yeah. We can put Orange Cassidy on that bracket. Just to irritate you.
People's votes might change from the last bracket. You don't know.
Oh, I don't even remember who won the last bracket.
Well, I can tell you it might not have been the last bracket, but there's been plenty of times when these brackets were shady, man. Like shady.
Hey man, don't you dare go doing a G23.
I'm not even talking about that one. I'm talking about the one where the Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas song won fair and square, and then for the next month, everyone on YouTube harassed me and made fun of me and called me a jerk because I rigged the bracket.
Yeah. The Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Christmas song, legitimately won that bracket. There were no shenanigans whatsoever involved. And people to
were
this day
still were mad. Man. They were pissed.
For those of you who don't know, that was on, I think, the very first Christmas Eve special that we did on the Unloaded Media channel.
Like, yeah, man, I think I'm on the other side of the fence here, man. Wasn't I rooting for like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or something like that?
Yeah, I don't remember. That's been a few years ago now. I do remember that we had Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas the next year on there as one of the best Christmas specials, and Kingpin refused to admit that existed.
And then I proved it to him and got fucking striked by fucking YouTube.
I was dead serious. I was like, Jason's lying to me, and he's figured out how to convince Rich to lie to me too.
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. If you haven't seen it, you
Man, it's a
gotta
classic.
watch it. Classic. I've enjoyed it all my life, no matter where I was located in life at the time, man. You gotta watch Emmett Otter.
Yeah, Jim
Ain't
Henson
no
at
hole
his
in my
finest. Man.
washtub. Yeah, ain't no hole in my river bottom.
Ain't no hole in the
nightmare
washtub.
bed.
River bottom nightmare band. Yeah.
Parental warning ahead of time, because the first 5 minutes of this show are extremely violent. It's like the ultimate amount of street violence in a fucking show. What's up, Gizzard?
Yeah,
Thing is,
they torture the hell out of poor Kermit. Oh.
it was like that too, man. It was just like a straight fucking pull up fucking knockout game right at the beginning.
They just mugged the hell out of Kermit. Kermit's just getting ready to sit there and tell the story with his little banjo, and these badass biker gang looking dudes in this old hot rod looking car pull up and just start wailing on him.
Fucking bear and a snake and shit. Got a snake dressed like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, Freddie Mercury in the 80s, back when, like, about the time the Game album come out, and they were doing, like, this old 50s style biker gang look.
Serious, man. That's hard to get. Like, I've looked. You can't get that for free. You're going to have to, like, buy it, rent it, pay for it or something. But it's so worth it, man. It's the classic heartwarming Christmas tale of giving to others and everything. And, but damn, there's just something about that show, man. You got to watch it. It looks like you're a little kid again or something.
$10 on Amazon, Jason, and you can relive your past.
Yeah. There is free versions I found, like on YouTube once, but you only get like 3-4 minutes at a time, and then you gotta
And a channel strike.
Yeah.
Or that's
I don't
only
know.
if you rent it from YouTube and then think YouTube's going to let you restream it.
Well, I got it from them. I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a deal. It ain't like I stole it. I paid you for it. You, the people that got mad at me for showing you guys, I bought it from you. That's like buying drugs off the cops and then
That's the
getting arrested
problem,
for
Jason.
selling it.
You were stealing their business. You were showing what you had to pay them for free to everybody else.
But it was Christmas, Rich. I mean, I could walk into a store and steal $1,000. Cop will help me load it in my van. You can't let me watch a Emmett Otter. We were trying to share it with Kingpin, an individual who had never experienced the joy of that show. I mean, it's not like I'm a criminal or, well, well, never mind. Let's move on.
Discretion is the better part of valor. All right, what the
So,
hell are we?
CM Punk, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, my bad. Let's move on.
Well, did any of you guys watch Dynamite this week?
No.
No.
Nope.
Dang, man.
I can't believe you, Chris. You didn't watch it.
I know, right?
Man,
Yeah, man.
I had high hopes that you would be the only one that watched it.
He was supposed to come with all the notes this week.
I know.
I know.
We can always watch it now and get a copyright strike.
Do I look like Jason to you? We've met in person. Do I look like Jason Stewart to you? No comment from Jason. Anyway,
So what did CM Punk do that we really aren't?
yeah, we'll get to it eventually. It's one of those. You know how this show works by now. You've been here enough.
I'm the level-headed one that's trying to keep things in line here.
Where were you 2 weeks ago when Scotsman was on the show?
He wasn't on the wrestling show.
No, but he was on the other show and you didn't show up. So we didn't have anybody to be the voice of reason.
He was out there in the chat. So was I. Was listening, laughing.
Anyway, Hangman Page was called into Collision last weekend to do a promo.
Time out. Chris doesn't know what collision means, so explain to him very briefly what you mean by collision.
Collision is AEW Saturday Night Show. So they called him in because they were in Greensboro, North Carolina. Hangman lives in Greensboro. It would have been easier for him to do the promo on Saturday night, pre-film it, and then they just show it on Wednesday night. Everybody follows so far. So Hangman goes to the arena and is promptly asked to leave because CM Punk didn't want him there. And it gets better. Ryan Nemeth is also told to be at Collision last Saturday. Now, him and CM Punk had a little beef on Twitter. So he gets there. He is sent back home. He doesn't live in Greensboro. He lives in Hollywood, California. He flew all the way to Greensboro just to be told to go back home.
Real quick. He flew all the way from California to North Carolina on his own money.
Yes. And the reason why? Because CM Punk didn't want him there. And then it comes out later in the week that also banned by CM Punk's order from Collision is Christopher Daniels. Christopher Daniels happens to be one of the executives in the company. He is the head of talent relations, and he's not allowed to be on the Saturday show because CM Punk doesn't want him there to do his job of handling relationships and stuff and grievances and whatnot that the talent have.
Well,
is it just me, or is CM Punk getting a little too big for his britches here?
Yeah, I'd say that's like wild news to me, man, because like we were all bitching here, just a couple months ago when we were hearing rumors they were going to bring him back. And none of us wanted him back. Like, we were all talking like we don't know why AEW is even considering bringing him back. And they brought him back, and already it's more locker room drama right over again, which I believe I commented on some videos or something out there at the time about like, this dude's toxic cancer, he's going to destroy shit, and everybody was all like, oh, it's great, we can't wait to see Punk again and shit. I went to like that whole post and put a thumbs down on every comment that said that.
Real quick recap for Chris, and you can touch up my lack of details as I go, Rich. But maybe a year, 2 years ago-ish, CM Punk was wrestling on this television show AEW on Wednesday nights and the Friday night show. Well, he's a real jerk. Cancer in the locker room, real arrogant, just not a very good person at all. Always, every company he ever works for, he's always got to start some trouble. He started a fist fight in backstage in the locker rooms with
that'll be a year ago, the first week of September, because it was right after last year's All Out pay-per-view.
3 of the guys that he was fighting arguably are 3 of the top guys in the company.
Oh, not arguably, they're the 3 executive vice presidents of the company.
Well, that's what I was going to say. 2 of them own the company.
3. No, they're not.
I didn't know.
They're not the owners. They're not the owners. Tony Khan is the sole owner, but they're like Tony Khan's up here, and they're right below Tony Khan on the totem pole.
So this CM Punk guy started a fight with the executives, who are also wrestlers, just to make it clear, but the executives of the company in the locker room. A fist fight, like an actual fist fight.
And
now he's been around. He's been wrestling for years, there, right? Because I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's been in wrestling since the early 2000s.
Okay, like Rich was saying, he's bounced around back and forth from every wrestling show and company there was, and it's always drama, always.
Yeah, there's a handful of people throughout history that Vince McMahon has said he will never do business with again. Most of them he has. CM Punk is on that list, and so far since he's left back in the company, which was back in 2014, if I remember correctly, Vince has never spoken to him once since then.
Well, what do you expect out of somebody who's got a fucking Pepsi tattooed on their arm?
Hey, man, the guy likes Pepsi. It's his one vice.
That's a pretty good point, man.
The choice of a new generation.
What's wrong with Pep? What are you trying to say, Buck? What's wrong with Pepsi? I like Pepsi.
Coke is better than Pepsi.
It depends on where you live, honestly.
Facts.
Damn right it is. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Like that old saying you know what they used to say years ago, Coke adds life.
Anyway, where the hell were we?
We were talking about CM Punk ruining another business.
Yeah. So,
So
I
what
lost
did
my
he
train.
do, Rich?
What did who do? I just said what Punk was doing.
Yeah, but that was a year ago.
No, this was this past weekend.
Oh, he started to fight this weekend?
No, not the fight weekend.
No.
The where he had people sent home who
Oh,
he had no authority to have sent home, and then apparently banned an executive.
I would have walked right up in there and whooped his ass. Smacked him
Man.
right in the mouth.
Ain't that like going to work and telling your boss you don't want to see him in here anymore?
That's exactly what that is like. Yes.
Shit, I do that now. So far, it seemed to work. Cause that's somebody out at this goddamn lake house all the time, riding around on a boat and shit.
Well, you should change your name to Tactical Punk.
You know what I'm waiting to see? CM Punk is an extreme leftist. Okay, this is already an established fact. The guy has worn abortion rights or women's rights shirts on air and a bunch of other political statements on shirts and stuff. The guy's a far left nut job. He's supposed to be best friends with FTR. What happens if all of this with Wheeler blows over? Is he going to ban FTR from Collision?
Oh, you know what? This sounds really
Probably.
terrible. What if the Cash Wheeler guy gets suspended and Tony Khan gives CM Punk the other tag team and keeps the tag team titles on what would be FTR, but CM Punk instead of Cash Wheeler?
Well, it's possible if
I-
they
I-
do if they implement the Freebird rule and then have him put. Yeah, they could do that. I mean, they've already done the trios thing where there's CMFTR.
Right, yeah.
God, his head will get even bigger. I mean, he's already running around with a fake world title saying he's the real world champion, which everybody knows that's MJF. For now. But, yeah.
I did see this at wrestling. I think it was new this week, but I saw something where MJF and Jericho were like dancing and singing like a musical.
Oh, that's old. That's
show
from years
tune.
ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's from like 2019. That wasn't that long after the company was formed, actually. That was a long while ago.
That was very strange.
Yes, yes it was.
MJF does a lot of singing, man. Like, he does a lot of singing and dancing.
Yeah, it's like every year he has one singing thing that he does.
Andy Two-Tone Frazier, can I please get a birthday shout out?
No, be careful how you read that, Jason.
Okay. Nigger.
Yeah, don't say that real close together and say it very fast.
Well, happy birthday to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I caught on to that right away.
Somebody needs
Lies
to
was
contact.
distracted by the cake.
Somebody needs to contact Susan and tell her to take that stupid heart off of the chat. I can't stand this dumb thing. I don't know why they put it there.
I don't know.
What the hell is it for?
It
know
does
how-
what it. You don't got the YouTube chat pulled up, Buck?
Have you ever watched a live
No, I
video?
don't.
Have you ever watched anybody live on Instagram, Buck? Like, have you ever watched Clover go live on Instagram?
Yeah.
That's the same thing Instagram does, where you can click that little heart while he's chatting and all the hearts will pop up on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Except YouTube sucks so much that when you pop up the hearts, unless you're looking at the dumb chat, you can't see it. So, like, it should come across Rich's screen so he could see it, but it doesn't.
Oh, it does now, but I still can't see where I can actually push on them. But I'm seeing them when whoever's hitting the button is hitting the button. Because I have the YouTube chat popped out, it's now showing on there. But
Yeah.
if I'm just using the built-in chat on StreamYard, I don't see it.
Stupid.
Yep. Anyway,
So what's next on the roll call? 219.
I'm just going to remove that comment real quick. Okay. So anybody else want to weigh in on the CM Punk situation before we move on? Or has everybody said their piece?
No, I had enough of him already.
I had enough of him when he first signed with the company.
Hey, Chris, you know that little video you put out today? You don't have your
Yeah.
comments activated on that.
It's turned on now. I don't know what
it
happened
is?
there. Yeah, G23 texted me and said it
Uh,
wasn't working. I don't know what happened there. That's the first time I ever had that happen.
Did you upload that directly from your phone?
No, I've never uploaded. The only thing I upload from my phone would be the shorts.
Yeah, sometimes, like a couple times back, way back when, if I'd upload it directly from my phone and then you send it live from my phone, the comments would be turned off.
Yeah, it was weird. I went through the thing and I monetized it because I knew it'd go right through. Set it to public. And I scheduled it to go live at 7 p.m. That way it would have enough time to process and all that. And then G texted me and said that the comments shut off. Normally when that happens is when you accidentally click like made for kids, it'll turn the comments off. And I thought, well, maybe that's what I did. And I went and looked and it wasn't. I had to go like deeper into the settings to find it said I had the comments shut off.
Yeah, I don't know how. I've not had that happen, so I do not know what you did there. Yeah. YouTube being YouTube, I guess.
What's next up on the docket there? Which way?
Well, next we have Edge having what he called his last match in Toronto. Not his last match specifically in Toronto.
I don't know, man. I think you're reading that wrong. I think it's Edge's last match in Toronto, as in
Nope.
my last match, which will happen to be in Toronto.
Nope, because after SmackDown went off the air, he kept talking to the Toronto crowd, and he specifically said that's his last match in Toronto. That it's not his last match. If he specifically states, "Okay, is it the end? Is this my last match here?" I don't know what the future holds, but what I can tell you is that it is my last match in front of you folks. Essentially, he told them it is his last match there in Toronto. He wore the Toronto Maple Leafs colors, even though he's not a Toronto Maple Leafs fan.
no,
He is a New Jersey Devils fan.
I went out there and watched it. He said Toronto was my last match.
That's not what he said.
No, but I did watch it today. Him and Sheamus got in there and shook hands and all that.
Yeah, that was a good match too.
I
put on-
didn't see the match part of it. I just seen what happened after they went off air.
They won a good 20 minutes or so, and they were beating the hell out of each other.
Yeah, Edge said he hits like a son of a bitch.
Yes, he did. He's like, man, he hits like a son of a bitch. It was because he's talking about how good Sheamus is and how Sheamus has got him back into wrestling and everything. And he's like, man, he hits like a son of a bitch. It was one of those things where you knew it wasn't part of the scripted part because the way he said it and when he said it. But yeah, Zika, and what he also stated was that this was his last match on his WWE contract. Does he re-sign with WWE if it's not his last match? Or, before retiring, does he sign a short-term deal with AEW so that he can do something with Christian? Not your son, Chris. The other Christian. What do you think on that one, Kingpin?
I'm still trying to grasp the not the last match ever thing. I mean, I guess I didn't see it, so I don't know. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it. But it would make sense. I mean, I guess if him and Christian are still cool, that'd be a good way for them to go out. I think about it, it would actually be quite cool because he could have Jericho and Christian involved in his last match for AEW.
Some I saw a couple people in the comment section on one video I watched. What if instead of CM Punk, Edge ends up in Wembley filling in for Wheeler?
Yeah, but is that just like a fantasy thing? What kind of connection would you have there?
Funny you should ask. On Dax Harwood's Twitter page, the day before Wheeler was arrested, he posted a picture of him and Edge together in an AEW locker room.
Right on. Okay. That's highly more acceptable than CM Punk for sure.
I think it's an AEW locker room. But yeah, it was a picture. Apparently, him, Edge, and Harwood are good friends. They live in the same area in North Carolina and whatnot. I just thought that was an interesting thing. And, when somebody said that, I was like, you know what? If he's not under WWE contract anymore, that would be entirely possible. And then, just fantasy booking here. What if we end up with, if something were the worst case scenario, Wheeler ends up going to jail and whatnot. Edge sticks around, and him and Harwood end up having to defend the tag titles against Christian and Luchasaurus.
Right on. That'd probably be alright.
I don't think Edge and Christian have ever faced off against each other in a tag team match that I can remember.
They gotta involve We're Better Than You, baby, if they want to make it any good.
Well, remember, they're involved with the ROH Tag Team Championship right now.
Chris, did you fall asleep yet?
Nope, I'm doing good.
Would you remember Edge and Christian back in the day?
I remember Edge. I don't know about Christian.
Christian's the
Well,
one that was his brother in storyline that he was a tag team with. Always went up against the Hardys and the Dudleys.
Christian, he still wrestles too, right?
Yeah,
Christian Cage. So like them guys are still at it, man. This is 2023. Last time I looked, and they're still out there.
Do you remember the name Sting, Chris?
yeah.
Yeah, there was something on I just saw something on TV the other day with him.
Yeah, he's still wrestling, and he's doing crazier shit now than he did when he was doing the surfer gimmick. He's jumping off of balconies onto people and shit.
You know,
Yeah,
He's 60 years old.
It was something he did for a kid that was sick or something like that. It was pretty cool, whatever it was.
Yeah, he does a lot of children's charity stuff.
but yeah, you're right, man. Like, you know those contests where like there's a swimming pool, and they throw the fake duck or whatever. The dogs run and jump as far as they can through the air before they hit the water. That stuff Sting does now, man.
Without the water.
He looks like a dog in midair, man. His hairline and everything, man. He looks like a dog going through the air. He just jumps and he's stiff straight out. There you go.
Yeah, he looks like a damn Labrador that just jumped off the dock into a lake.
Do you remember the name Rey Mysterio?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he still wrestles like actively a lot. He wrestles a lot still.
Yeah, he's the current U.S. champion.
I thought he lost that again.
No, he just won it.
Yeah, and I know he just won it. I thought he had another fight with him and that Sebastian or whatever the hell his name.
No, he hasn't lost. He hasn't defended it yet. They just had a match last night on SmackDown to determine the number one contender between Theory and LA Knight, and Theory won because The Miz interfered. So they're setting up a feud between The Miz and LA Knight if you haven't caught what's going on there.
Yeah, I watched that video that y'all were talking about. I think y'all were talking about it where LA Knight come out there and knocked his ass out or some shit and laid down and shook his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched that.
It wasn't L.A. Knight. It was L.A. Knight. Yeah.
Orange Cassidy. Yeah.
Everybody says LA Knight. Worst part is, man, like we've talked about before, they had this guy signed like 10 years ago and they let him go.
Get Chris caught up. LA Knight is a name of a wrestler. And this guy is the most dynamic human being that's ever put on wrestling tights. His control over the crowd, it doesn't matter. If Donald Trump was having a rally and 50,000 people were like, Trump, 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 if LA Knight came out, they'd be like, screw Trump.
Yeah, let's put this in even better terms that Chris might understand. He's the second coming of The Rock, back when The Rock was at his height during the Attitude Era.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he does his talking. I always think so. I know he's based his work off of. He's been heavily inspired by The Rock. He's not stealing The Rock or imitating The Rock, but he's got that delivery. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's taken a lot of cues from what Rock was doing when on that.
A lot of people on the internet are super pissed off because they barely ever use this guy. And every time he comes out, if he pops his head out and just waves at the crowd, people fall out. And everybody on the internet is, why doesn't this guy have a main event championship every night of the week?
Yeah, to put it in what Kingpin just said in perspective, what was it, Money in the Bank? No, not Money in the Bank. The pay-per-view before Money in the Bank. He didn't have a match. And people on the internet, on Twitter, YouTube, everywhere, were going crazy if this guy was not on the card. So during the pay-per-view, they had him come out, give a 30-second promo, and the freaking arena exploded.
It was the Los Angeles show. That's why another reason everybody was so pissed off is the biggest star in wrestling history name is L.A. Knight, and they were having a show in L.A., and he wasn't a part of it. So, that, like Rich said, they gave him a 30-second promo, and that could have been the whole show.
Yeah, it was the biggest pop of the night. The crowd did not get louder at any point during that show.
Yeah, I really like him a lot. And to catch you up to speed on this Orange Cassidy character, I love orange juice. Like, not like go crazy on it, but I like orange juice. Always, good, refreshing orange juice. Don't get it very often. Like, would never refuse an orange juice. You know what I mean? I don't worship the shit, but, everybody likes orange juice. If I went to McDonald's and ordered my big breakfast and they put a tray in front of me with orange juice, I would brandish my weapon, make that punk who put that there put his hands in his pockets, and then I would punch him right in his mouth just because I don't like Orange Cassidy.
Jason's just a hater.
This dude, Chris, would get on your nerves watching him for the first time in 5 minutes. And when he sticks his hand in his pockets, it would irritate you so bad. You would be thinking about how much a cheap TV cost at Walmart so you could punch the one you have right now.
I got some pictures coming up for you, Chris.
I just looked him up.
Oh, you did? Okay, so
God.
Thanks you for doing that, because I don't want to have to screen share and do that to Jason.
Next week, I was already thinking about next week I was going to be on the backup monitor. It's smaller and I won't be able to read nothing. But no, he's an irritating son of a bitch. Oh my God, them sunglasses.
I just can't wait to get that package I sent you, Jason.
Do you send him a pair of Orange Cassidy's
I ain't gonna tell you. I'm gonna let him do a mail call on it.
Oh. Send him an Orange Cassidy T-shirt.
I mean, look, this is funny. It is funny, but Jason's not wrong. I mean, I like Orange Cassidy, but Jason's definitely not wrong. This guy's a real jerk.
Yeah, he is.
And the best part is, the kids love him. It's fun. The kids in the audience will dress like Orange Cassidy.
And even worse than when he's wrestling is when he's like doing promos and stuff backstage, and he just sits there like he's so cool in jean jackets and like, God, I just hate this dude, man. I mean, I just hate this. I love all the wrestling. I like the characters. I make fun of some for this or that. You know what I mean? That's just who I am. I like absolutely. CM Punk, I'll still watch because he does put on a match. This Orange Cassidy, I just hate it, dude. I mean, like, I don't feel healthy. I'm mad. I'm angry. And he's probably the nicest person ever in real life or something, you know what I mean? But I can't stand this dude, man. If the dude went to a charity hospital and was doing good work, I'd be in his face like, what the fuck you doing? Get out of here, boy.
So, Chris, when you at the range and Jason's out there with you, and he puts both his hands in his pocket, just call him Orange.
Oh, that would be fighting words. Chris might get popped in the nose. Buck, what are you trying to...
Careful, man. I brought my fucking plastic Peter pistol with me.
Dear Lord in heaven.
I might dress up like Orange Cassidy for Halloween and then kick my own ass.
Alrighty then.
Oh, I forgot the worst part. We'll move on, but Chris has got to know the worst part. I got 2 words for you. Skinny jeans.
Yeah, I seen he wears those too.
They're not real jeans, though.
And right on time. Rich has to.
They're not actually jeans. They're more of a sweatpant material that made to look like denim.
Skinny sweatpants.
And by the way, he's not the only wrestler that wears them. So, like, if you look at AR Fox and a couple of the other guys, they're wearing the exact same thing. Just Foxes are made to look more like cargo pants, and then one of the other guys, I forget who it is made to look like something else. Might be more of a black tactical pants or something like that.
Skinny jeans.
Yeah. Well, Rich, if he was wearing Jordashes, it wouldn't make me feel any better.
What if he was wearing Levi's?
That's even worse. They donate to the
I know.
anti-2A groups.
Wranglers?
Remember that dumb commercial back when we were younger? Are those Bugle jeans you're wearing?
Well, yes, they are. That was right up there with the Grey Poupon commercial. Pardon me, do you happen to have any Grey Poupon? But of course.
Here's the Bugle Boy commercial in 2023. Oh, are those Bugle Boy jeans you're wearing? Why, yes, that's sexual harassment.
Man, I was riding with reloading from the hot pot. His car drives itself, right? He's not even touching the steering wheel at all. Okay, and we've been driving down the road like that for it's like a 3-hour drive, and like he didn't touch the wheel but just a couple times, right? It's for seconds. And we're driving down the highway, and people are like looking in their cars when they're passing us and stuff. And some car got up next to us, and I rolled down the window and I asked if they had any Grey Poupon.
I was wondering where you were going with this. I'm like, what does this have to do with the conversation?
Yeah, it ain't often you hear the phrase, "Hey, excuse me, do you have any Grey Poupon?" But everybody was like staring at us through the windows when they came up next to us, and I just finally said something to somebody.
I don't even know how we were going with this at this point.
All right, so who else is in the news this week? What about the USO? I did see the USO when he said he was out. I heard he got hired by AEW, so I thought that would be your big story for tonight.
I didn't hear nothing about that.
Yeah, I heard that somewhere too.
Yeah, he's done with WE and has been hired by the AEW. Go ahead and Google it.
I think that would have been all over the wrestling news things today if that were the case.
Buck heard it, didn't you?
Yeah, I heard it on YouTube. YouTube definitely don't lie to you.
Ain't no hole in your washtub.
I heard it on YouTube myself. That being right here just now on YouTube, but I did hear it on YouTube.
Yeah, just heard it right now from Jason on YouTube.
Don't worry, Jason. I got you back on this one, buddy.
If that actually happened, all the YouTube wrestling news channels would have been posting that all over the place because that would have been the big news of the day.
Hold on, I'm looking for it, and I'll tell you what the headline says. Man, I don't know what happened to my YouTube channel, but it got like screwed up, and like it used to show me like 3 or 4 videos wide per screen, you know what I mean? You just scroll down, you can look at like 12 videos with one scroll.
Oh, good.
Now they're all lined straight up and down.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. They're talking about on Wednesday, this dude was playing Leatherface during the terrible freaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match. And people were saying that, oh, it's Jey Uso, it's Jey Uso. It wasn't Jey Uso. It was a minor wrestler that signed to the AEW brand. Jey Uso has not joined AEW.
Say if Jey Uso joined AEW, that's bad news for MJF.
Hey man, he's main event Jey Uso.
It'd be a pretty difficult signing to get Jey Uso if you didn't tell him you'd put a world title on it. I don't really think Jey Uso's gonna have.
Jey Uso is Jey Uso couldn't sign with AEW right now if he wanted to because he's still under contract at WWE.
Yeah, I don't think he quit. I think that's just storyline. I'm just making up.
Okay, this says. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, I'm done. I was just rambling.
It says Jey Uso quits WWE, signs with AEW. LA Knight replaces Jey, and Solo Sikoa reacts to Jay's exit. That's the storyline on
that's not a credible report because nobody else was saying that.
Dude's got 41.1 thousand subscribers.
Yeah, and the channels that have
you best trust that one.
The channels that have and other sources that have over 1 million followers have said nothing along those lines. Yeah. And that report, if you go into the story, it's because fans were saying that the guy dressed as Leatherface was Jey Uso. That's not the case. And by the way, that Texas Chainsaw Death match, oh, good lord. It was so TNA back when TNA was bad.
Did it beat the exploding barbed wire match?
No, because that was a good match until he got to the end and then the thing screwed up. This was not a good match.
I don't know. I still think, even though I like John Moxley a lot, I think a lot of that overt violent for the sake of violent is kind of dumb. Like, you don't need a baseball bat with barbed wire wrapped around it in the wrestling match. It's just,
Moxley wasn't involved in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match.
But that's their style. You know, that's the Blackpool Combat Club style, is, to stab people with screwdrivers and stuff like that.
Well, Moxley's lately has been a fork. Yes, he thinks he's channeling Abdullah the Butcher. But the Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match, speaking of old guys still wrestling, was Jeff Hardy versus Jeff Jarrett.
This might be my thing I was talking about, man. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
When do you think the last time you watched wrestling was, Chris?
Oh, man. I'm going to guess 98, 99. We were into it back then, though. That was like, I think it was like a Wednesday night or the Thursday night. We would all have friends over and we'd drink beer and watch it. Then we'd always get the pay-per-views, get like 10 guys together and we'd all throw in $5 a piece. And that was big stuff for us back then. We enjoyed that.
Man, we need to get you on here watching one of the pay-per-views with us. You'll be pulled right back in.
Oh, yeah. I'd do that with you.
Yeah, I haven't watched wrestling since probably the 80s, the early 90s, because all throughout my high school, I never watched any wrestling. And then ever since then, until I started doing this with Rich, and a year into this, I didn't even watch wrestling. And then when I started watching it, there's some pretty cool stuff. You just put it in perspective. Everybody talks about, oh, it's fake, duh. Well, yeah, your stupid Marvel movie's fake too, but you spent $13 on a soda to go watch it.
Yeah, it's all
So
entertainment.
yeah,
I mean,
sure.
Yeah, it's a stunt show with a plot, if that makes sense.
well, that's what I've always said though. It's like people that say it's fake. I'm like, you cannot tell me those guys don't have. They're like the most athletic people on earth. I mean, to be able to do what they do, and for the amount of time that they can do it. I mean, you think some
Yeah.
of them matches go forever, and boxers have 3 minute rounds. UFC fighters have 5 minute rounds. These guys are going nonstop for a half hour or more. So you can't say anything that they don't have like super athletic ability.
Right. And to your point, that's why they have the headlocks and stuff. They don't do it in rounds, so they put somebody in a headlock so they can both catch their breath and do the next big thing they're going to do.
Plus, they do it night after night.
Especially in WWE. AEW hasn't been doing house shows since COVID, but WWE's back on the road. They're doing 3-4 shows a week, not including Raw and SmackDown.
And I got to say, Kingpin didn't really start watching it till he started watching LA Knight. Then he just.
It's not really inaccurate either.
I don't know, man. He's had a crush on quite a few of the female wrestlers before LA Knight became the big thing.
Yeah, that's different.
His latest crush is Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I'm proud to admit that, man. And Chris, when we first started watching wrestling, this girl Rhea Ripley, when she first started wrestling, she's a pretty girl. She's not super hot or nothing like that, but she's a very attractive young lady. So she was like normal when she first started wrestling. Then she hit the gothic thing, and she went so super gothic at one point. I used to call her a tranny. And dude, I like you could believe me that this is a tranny. Like it looked like a giant dude with boobs. And then for whatever reason, I don't know what happened. But one night she was the super tranny and I was making fun of her. And then the next night I was madly in love with her. and since then it's just like every time I see her, I'm just like, okay, I love you.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot and give you a real dilemma. What happens if she ends up fighting Tiffany Stratton?
Oh, no. See, what I would do then is I'd dive in the middle of the ring and bash myself in the face with a chair for a half an hour so they didn't have to hurt each other.
In case you didn't get the idea, that's another one of Kingpin's crushes.
Or, wait a minute. How about this? How about they have a match, and then whichever one wins, I pat on the back and give a good old jolly up, and yay, right on. And then I console the other one like she's never been consoled before. So I win both ways.
I thought you were going to say, what if it's the return of the bra and panties match?
But that's what we're going to do in the hotel room afterwards.
Well, you know what the bra and panties match was, right?
I'll tell you about it afterwards.
No, I'm asking. Do you honestly do you know what the concept was?
Yeah, where you strip the girl off to where she had her down to bra and panties.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that P word, by the way.
I didn't come up with the name for the match. No?
Well, I know, but and it's pretty much the way you call those things. I just don't like the sound of the word.
Were they just left in their underwears? Is that better?
Are you Cardi B now?
I don't know.
2 pairs of underwears.
I never even listened to her, so I have no idea as she said it that way.
You gotta type in. Do yourself a favor, please. Go look up Cardi B interviews. There's this one. If you type.
I've seen clips of her giving interviews. I've seen clips of her conducting an interview.
Her Instagram, like when she goes off on rants about taxes and the government. It's like, wait a minute, you're a Republican. because listen to the things you're saying, but she's a super duper crazy, whacked out leftist. But one time she was complaining about people in prison because she was talking about taxes. And she said they only get one jumpsuit and only get 2 pairs of underwears. And that little clip of the 2 pairs of underwears hit trillions of views on the internet. I mean, it was so funny, man.
Have you ever seen the clip where she was interviewing Joe Biden?
Yeah, dude, that's
It was painful trying to figure out which one of them was the most brain dead in the room.
And I don't know, for the listening audience, whether you think Cardi B is a pretty girl or not, that's up to you. If you think that Cardi B is an attractive woman or a pretty woman, however you want to look at it, do not look her up without makeup, because it's a completely different human being when she doesn't have makeup on. And the other human being looks like an alien.
I'm still trying to figure out how the hell that bitch ain't in prison.
Well, yeah, man. She made $1 billion off of admitting that she used to drug and rob
Yeah,
jobs.
yeah, exactly. That's robbery.
She's also drugged them too.
Yeah, that's what makes it robbery. Otherwise, it would have just been theft. Because she drugged them, that aggravates the charge from theft up to robbery. The difference between theft and robbery is robbery involves some form of violence. Drugging somebody qualifies as violence under the law, therefore it becomes robbery. There's your legal note of the week, I guess.
So is there any other wrestling stuff we need to talk about?
Tell me you saw NXT.
I didn't see any of it, man.
Oh, man! You
Nothing.
gotta watch the closing promo between Mello and Wesley, dude.
So I guess Wesley beat Dijak.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think they're gonna put the world title on Wesley, or you think they're gonna have Carmelo come out?
Man, after that promo, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised.
I think the crowd likes Wesley better. I don't think Carmelo. I think whatever he got. How many times has he gotten beat? Braun Breaker beat the crap out of him a dozen times after he took the title from him, and then everybody else, Finn Balor and the Judgment Day, been beating the crap out of him. When is the world champion gonna be dominant?
I don't know, but the crowd was popping heavy for both of them during their promo. They were going hard at each other in the promo, too.
That should be a great match. Those two dudes got a lot of skill. That's why I was confused about why they're kind of like downing Carmelo Hayes when he should be running through everybody.
Oh, they also did a segment where it looks like they're setting up possibly a three-way feud between Braun Breaker, Von Wagner, and Baron Corbin.
That should be pretty good too.
And to start, if I remember right, to start the show, they had Ali standing at this pulpit, or the little lectern, whatever you want to call it. Like he was giving a speech to a crowd dressed in a suit. He had 2 U.S. flags behind him with the center plate from the North American title. Like he was a presidential candidate or something, giving a speech about how he's going to be the next North American champion and stuff. It was pretty good too.
Yeah, that guy's talented, man. I'm glad. I'd like to have seen him stay on the main roster and get more shine, but I'm glad that he's getting some shine somewhere else because he's pretty talented.
So are they bringing Corbin out of that little bum-like
Oh,
atmosphere he was in?
they've done away with that a while ago, but
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's down. He's back down on NXT, kind of being the jaded veteran, so he's talking trash to all the young guys about this isn't going to be your life. You can't handle this kind of stuff. And I think this character is a lot better because it's kind of more just being him. And I think he's doing a much better job on NXT than he's been for, what, 5 years or whatever now on the regular roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reason why I think they're setting up the three-way between him, Braun, and Von Wagner is they had Corbin was out in the middle of the ring giving a promo, and then Von Wagner and his manager uh, Robert Stone come out, and Stone starts doing talking like he always does, and Wagner was just standing there. And Corbin looks at him like, if you want to be on a big time, you got to be good on this stick. You got to be able to talk for yourself. So Von Wagner gets the mic off of Robert Stone, and he just starts cutting the promo on Corbin. It's the best I've heard Von Wagner on the mic since he started. The whole time he's been there. He actually was, other than that speech impediment he has, because all the issues that he had as a kid that they did the one segment on a few weeks ago, if you remember. Kingpin, I know because we've talked about before about that segment. So, and the crowd was behind Von Wagner the whole time. And then later on in the night, after this segment was done, Corbin's out in the parking lot being questioned by the backstage interviewer about it, and then Braun comes out and gets in his face.
Nice. This guy Von Wagner, Chris, he wrestles for WWE on the NXT show, which is like the minor leagues. And for a while he was, we're going to do something with this guy, we're not going to do something with this guy, and the crowd really wasn't into him too much. Then his manager the whole time has been like, hey man, you got to open up to me. You got to help me know who you are so I can get the crowd to know who you are. And the dude was like, no, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. And then for whatever reason, one Tuesday night, they did this whole segment. And when Von Wagner was a kid in real life, he had some kind of deformed skull or something like that. So he had massive, major skull surgery as a young kid. And obviously, growing up with that kind of stuff, you probably had a rough life or whatever. This dude's a real big monster. So after they did the segment on that, and everyone that watched it stopped crying, they became like giant Von Wagner fans. So now this guy is like becoming super popular. And all it took was for him to just be real. Like, just, hey, look, this is what happened with me when I was a kid. This is what I went through. And overnight, bam, instant success.
Yeah, whatever it was that he had wrong with him, if they wouldn't have done those surgeries, his skull wouldn't have expanded properly, and his skull literally would have been crushing his brain as he was getting older. It would eventually have killed him.
Yeah, I just looked him up. You can almost kind of tell by looking at him that there's been some work done there. That's pretty cool, though, that that probably has changed his career big time now.
Yeah, the crowd, when he would come out before that segment, the crowd would be like, clap and whatever. We got 5 minutes to kill here. And then after that segment, they were just like, rah, rah, rah.
Yeah, it's like they finally found a connection with him because he opened up and let them know who he is. Which sometimes that's all it takes. It's being yourself.
Well, and the best part is he was kind of like a Hulk smash type wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And then after he did the segment, when he would come out to the ring and do his Hulk smash type of stuff, they'd be like, yeah, one more time, keep hitting him, kick his ass.
What I find funny as hell with him right now is He's going to table everything. I'm going to table you. I'm going to table you. He's supposed to put everybody through tables.
Hey guys, I'll be right back. I gotta run my dog outside real quick.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
man, I'm back.
Right, look at that. Perfect tag team partners.
uh-huh.
You know who else is good tag team partners?
The Smurfs.
Carpenters and painters.
Yeah, we make your stuff look good.
First, I'll come in and nail the hell out of it, and then Kingpin will come in and fill that gap with some caulk.
Okay. Moving right along.
I,
Uh, we
I
were
don't
hang-
mind I don't mind puttying a few holes while you're caulking either, man. Just
Look.
to help you out.
When we were hanging that crown last weekend, Jason, or last week, Jason, me and the carpenter guy were in this bathroom holding this one piece up, and he was like, pop, pop, pop. And then he let it go and it dropped to the floor. And I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I don't know what happened. So he hit it 3 or 4 more times. And he was he looked at the gun and he was like, oh, it ain't got no nails in it. And I was like, thanks, Jason. Then I told him the story about how you'll take the nails out and just pop, 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 and just put a bunch of air holes in the stuff.
Yeah, like the painters will like caulk thousands of feet of this whole house, but if I had a splicer board that went together, they like won't touch it. They won't even put it. They won't even fill in the holes like with the nails. They'll just leave that joint there and make it look bad. So I just nail it normal. Then I take the nail gun and I just stitch it side to side with no nails in it, putting holes in it like old fashioned stitches in your arm like Frankenstein. I just sit there and just pull that trigger, and I'll make them fill that whole thing in.
In case anybody was wondering why I said the Smurfs, the way Von Wagner says he's going to table everything reminds me of the Smurfs. How they would say, I'm going to Smurf this, Smurf you, go Smurf yourself. Every verb for the Smurfs was Smurf. Von Wagner, every verb is turning into table. But with him, it works. Because he looks like he's somebody who's big enough to where if he wants to put you through a table, he's going to put you through a table. Did you see the match he had about a week ago against Braun Breaker, where Breaker won and he, at the end, Von Wagner got up and still put him through the table?
I missed that one too. I haven't been able to watch wrestling.
Oh, that's when you didn't have internet. That's right.
Yeah, well, it was. There was a week that I didn't have any internet. Then the week after that, I was just all kinds of tied up and working and stuff. And then this week, it just wasn't happening.
Yeah. Yeah, Braun Breaker and him had a match. It was a good match, too. You didn't know who was going to win until Breaker won at the end. And then after the match, Breaker gets out of the ring and he's like acting all tired and, exhausted. And Von Wagner just gets up, comes up behind him, grabs him, and puts him through the announce table. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with Wagner, because they said he's starting to sound better on the mic. I think him being with Robert Stone's really helped him, which is what the point of a manager is, which is why I don't know why they don't have managers on the main roster more than what they do. There's a lot of people on the main roster that could benefit from having a manager. Somebody like Ricochet, for example. As good as that guy is, put him with a manager, and I mean, that's the whole point back in the day why they had managers. Not everybody's good on the mic, but they'll be great in the ring, have all kinds of charisma stuff while they're in the ring wrestling, but can't use the mic for shit. So you put them with a manager. The manager does the talking for them. But they don't do that anymore.
Probably just expensive.
No, Vince doesn't like that. Vince has stated that he doesn't like the manager system in professional wrestling. He's also stated he doesn't like tag teams in professional wrestling. And if you look at the state of the tag team division until fairly recently on the men's side, and you look at the state of the tag team division on the women's side, it shows. Oh, man. You didn't see Dynamite, so you didn't see MJF's new move, did you?
No,
Okay, they did a vignette where him and Adam Cole were doing the hanging out thing again, and they go to Outback Steakhouse. After they go to Outback Steakhouse,
Seth Rollins there?
no, that was Applebee's with him and Becky Wyatt.
Yeah, all right, okay, sorry.
Anyway, afterwards, MJF comes up with this move. He's calling the kangaroo kick because he said since they're taking on Aussie Open, he's been studying Australian things. That's why they went to Outback Steakhouse in the first place. Because they were, how do we get to know our opponents? Well, they're from Australia. And Adam Cole's like, we're going here for dinner. And he's like, oh, I love Outback Steakhouse. So they go. And then MJF, after he come out, is like, I got an idea, too. I've been studying these kangaroos. And I'm going to do the kangaroo kick. And Adam Cole's like, no, you can't do the kangaroo kick. And he's like jumping around with his hands folded. I got to turn my camera on so you can see this. Right? Now, picture he's like squatting down. Kind of. And he's got his hands like this, jumping around. And he's jumping up and kicking out like a drop kick while not laying flat out. And he's calling it the kangaroo kick.
Wow. That dude is insane.
I know, right?
Look,
but funny as hell.
This guy MJF, Chris, is currently like probably the most popular wrestler, not counting this LA Knight guy. But people really like him, and he's a bad guy. He's so good at being a bad guy. There's videos on YouTube of like him being at a signing. This guy brings his like 12-year-old daughter to get an MJF signature. MJF tells off this little girl like she's a grown man. I mean, I don't think he cussed at her, but he pretty much told her that she was a stupid idiot and she needed to get out of his face. This girl has never been so happy in her life. Her dad was sitting there. Yeah. He told her, he got a promo one day where he was talking, and I'm not going to be graphic, but so you'll have to use your imagination. He was in a car with a girl, and that girl was doing something for him, and they crashed, and she died.
Oh, God.
They called the police.
Yeah, they called the sheriff's department on Long Island to ask if any of this happened and to tell them that MJF had just confessed to it on television. People were convinced that it was real.
Did you watch my press conference on gun violence video, Chris?
Might have.
Well, at the end, it says, got any questions? Thank you, F you, bye. That was MJF. And this press conference, is the end of the press conference, he walks in, tells off, just not even in, just interrupts everybody and starts screaming at all the media, telling them how great he is and how he's the best wrestler that's ever happened. Tony Khan is the guy that owns the company. He had a water bottle sitting in front of him. So MJF finishes talking and he says, anybody got any questions? He said, just kidding. He snatches the water bottle out of front of Tony Khan's face and says, thank you, and then looks at the crowd and says, F you, bye, and then walked out. It's hilarious, man.
Yeah, this guy is literally, we've talked about this before, if LA Knight is the second coming of The Rock, this guy is the second coming of Ric Flair. And it's not hyperbole. The guy is this good. He's only like 26 years old.
one of the things I like about him is I've seen several matches and like him and the opponent are going at it and like the opponent like does a reverse or gets out of like his hold, does a quick move to get around it, and the dude will be like stunned and he'll holler out like, "What the fuck?" and shit. Like, and just he plays stuff off so good and like holy, like he'll get kicked or something and he'll say like holy shit and stuff. He's good. Nobody else kind of acts like he does.
Yeah. The thing with him and Adam Cole, they just had a tournament where they put together tag teams that were oddball tag teams. None of these people were actual tag teams. Well, some of them were because luck of the draw, supposedly. Adam Cole and MJF were starting a feud for MJF's AEW World Heavyweight title, and they put them together as a tag team, and it's become the top freaking angle on the show, and everybody loves them as a tag team. And right now, remember back in the day whenever Ric Flair would buddy up to Sting and then eventually turn on him? That's the kind of story they're building with this right now, and MJF is so good at it. He says that he's still a scumbag, but he's so good at what he's doing. He has everybody thinking he's a babyface. It's crazy how good this kid is.
Wonder what Nick's doing for his birthday.
Well, since he wasn't in here to tell us that it's his birthday, he's not watching the show. So screw him. You didn't see then that your girl Britt Baker is in the four-way for the women's championship.
DMD. This girl, Britt Baker, Chris, she's a pretty attractive lady. She's a veteran wrestler, all about like actual real wrestling. She doesn't get into a whole lot of that teeny bopper like I don't know, bubbly type of female wrestler. Like she actually is kind of gruff and gets in it, but she's actually a real high level dentist too. In real life, she's a really accomplished dentist.
Yeah, she has actually fixed some of the guys' teeth after their matches after they've had their teeth knocked loose backstage.
Yeah, I just looked her up. She's actually a pretty nice looking girl. Wow.
And she's engaged to Adam Cole, which drives Kingpin nuts. That's another one of his crushes. That's his AEW crush, I think.
Haven't seen Jade Cargill in a while.
No, she's taking time off. She's wanting to spend time with her kids and stuff.
Jade Cargill is this. I'd say she's probably 6 foot tall. She's a black woman and she's built like She-Hulk, and every muscle on her body is just tasty looking, man. she's not even overly hot or nothing like that, but whatever it is about her, I just like
it. It's not that she has the build of the She-Hulk. For a while there, it looked like she thought she was the She-Hulk. She's dyeing her hair green and stuff. I think one of her outfits even mimicked one of the She-Hulk's outfits from the comic books. What did she use as like some kind of spray or something that gave her body a kind of a greenish tint to it too?
Didn't she do that for one show?
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, she definitely did that. Yeah, that happened.
So yeah, the women's match is going to be Hikaru Shida defending the title against Tony Storm, Saraya, and Britt Baker in Wembley Stadium.
When is all that coming up?
That's next Sunday at the pre-show starts at noon, so you guys will probably all be at work. At least Jason Kingpin will, anyway.
What is this about? Is this the Wembley show?
Yeah.
Hey, if you decide to join us on any of the live stream or pay-per-view watch-alongs, Chris,
Yeah.
WWE has a pre-show, and it's kind of like the Super Bowl pre-show. It's 2-3 hours of them talking.
Only
giant-
for WrestleMania. Only for WrestleMania is it 2 to 3 hours. But every other show is 1 hour. But it's just like Kingpin said. It's like watching the Super Bowl pre-show. They just run their mouths.
WWE is a little slower. Like they'll have a match, and then we can talk about the match, and we like giving scores, and cutting up and having a good time between the matches. AEW is a whole different story.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a Ramones concert, Chris?
No, I never got to see them.
Okay.
I wish I would have.
The Ramones, they didn't take a break between songs. They went from one song into the next song into the next song. When you're watching an AEW match, it's the wrestling equivalent. I mean, AEW pay-per-view is the wrestling equivalent of a Ramones concert. It goes from one match into the next, into the next, into the next. There's no breaks between the matches.
And on the pre-show, there's 3 or 4 awesome matches too. Like you got no chance to breathe on an AEW show.
Well, they said the Wembley show, the only match that's going to be on the pre-show is going to be the ROH Tag Team Championship match.
I will
Which-
defend the WWE pre-show though, right? Because those 2 girls that are
Yes,
on that are knocked out.
Jason's crushes are on the WWE pay-per-view pre-show.
Especially that new girl. God, I'll never forget her. What's her name? Was it Jackie?
Yeah, Jackie something.
Yeah,
I can't remember her name because when you look at this girl, you like forget how to speak English. I mean, damn. She's not like a wrestling girl or anything. She's like a interview thing. Like she looks like a movie star or something.
she would. That one chick, Diamond Dallas Page's daughter, or whatever it is, the other one that we were talking about.
Yeah, works for AEW.
If you could put her and Jason's girl together, you'd just die. Like if you saw those 2 in the same room together, you'd lay down on the ground and be like, I can just die here. What else do I need to experience in life?
Yeah, that one girl, I hate to say it, but best compliment I could give is I'd rape that in front of my own mother.
Now, speaking of good-looking chicks in WWE,
Pull her hair, Ma. Pull her hair. What? She's kicking. Watch it.
All right. But speaking of good-looking chicks in WWE, you didn't see what happened with the one dude from Imperium, Giovanni Vinci. No, not Giovanni. The other one, Ludwig Kaiser and Maxine Dupree this past week. Did you keep?
I saw something about where the dude was telling her that she should come be with a real man.
Yeah, he starts doing that whole spiel again, and he stops, and she just looks at him and just slaps the fucking taste out of his mouth. His mouth was bleeding. She hit him so hard. I don't know if she was meant to hit him that hard, or if whatever he said just pissed her off that much in real life, but she laid into him and just slapped the holy shit out of him. And they're going to run back the Gunther and Gable. Gable's going to be challenging him for the Intercontinental Championship, which should be a fairly good match as well because Gable can really go in the ring. It's cool to see him getting a push in that way. I think they're doing that on Monday. Now, whether or not they're going to have Gable beat Gunther when Gunther is, they keep bringing up about Gunther breaking the Honky Tonk Man's record. I think it was 25 days to go on last Monday. So I don't know if Imperium's going to interfere somehow and cost Gable the match, and then they extend it into the pay-per-view, which would then give Gunther the record. You know, have Gunther break the record and then have Gable beat him. Could be one way to do it. Oh, don't everybody talk at once.
I'm still thinking about the WWE pre-show. Sorry.
See, this is how much of a crush Jason has on these chicks on the pre-show. It gets brought up and he can't think of anything else but.
Let me ask you one question, Rick. Or Rich. See, I told you that girl make you forget how to speak English. I just told you that. But I was just gonna get to like, yeah. So what? Can you like blame me?
Did I say I blame you? I'm just saying that's how you get when that pre-show gets brought up, and then you lose track of everything else.
I'd be the only guy ever to plead guilty, and the jury found me innocent.
Yeah, Jason usually leaves after the WrestleMania starts.
Yeah. After the pre-show, he's
over.
got. Yeah, he always has to take a bathroom break after the pre-show.
That's just because I'm rewinding it. Yeah, somewhere out there. There's a proud man, or there's a long, long, long chain of fools, one or the other. But I think every one of them probably be just about as happy.
Yeah. Now, the problem with King, I don't know if any of your crushes are in a relationship, Jason, but the problem with Kingpin is 2 of his are.
How's that a problem?
Me. That don't bother me.
That's definitely not a problem. That's a bonus. That's a bonus because they got somewhere to go.
One of them is Buddy Matthews. He might kick your ass.
He'll be busy arguing with his woman when she gets home, limping.
Nah, see, man, the married women are so much better in a number of ways. But to keep it on a G level here, I'll just tell you, when you're dealing with a single girl or something like that, like, you gotta, like, come up with all the plans, the ideas. You gotta, like, plan the meetup, do all that, or whatever. When you're dealing with a married woman, she got that shit already figured out, man. You ain't gotta do nothing. It's so easy. It's so much better. It's one of the technical things of it that makes it better.
I'm not going to worry until Kingpin starts calling that one mama.
Starts calling her mommy.
Yeah, that's when I'm going to start worrying.
Oh my God! Speaking of that,
when me and Chris go out to Tulsa, I only have to buy a one-way ticket because I ain't coming back.
God. Speaking of the whole mommy thing, Dominic and Rhea were giving a promo on NXT, or they did a vignette on NXT, and they were cutting promo, on their opponents. Oh, did Dominic seem like he was so whipped by Rhea in that promo? He's like, yes, mommy. He did everything but put his head on her shoulder like a little kid. It was disgusting.
Okay, like Kingpin's been filling in Chris, but I'm gonna fill Chris in on this one. This Rhea Ripley girl, uh, she's big and mean. Okay, she's like I'm not like she's not. She's bigger than the other girls. Okay, she's strong. Uh, like for years we like every time she comes out of teasing, I'm like, it's a man. You know what I mean? It's transgender, and I always got that joke. And she's like really gothic and like
We already
I
filled him in
always
on that part.
I always refer like she's like a Marilyn Manson but a woman, right? And like just easy to make fun of but scary at the same time and everything. And then they like changed her character not too long ago, and she broke out them puppies and some fishnets stuff, and like
Where's Trish? Where's Trish?
opinions change. You know what I
I heard
mean?
puppies.
Changed her hair a little
Jerry
bit,
Lawler's not here.
dropped out the puppies, put on some fishnets, and yeah. It's amazing what a makeover do for you.
Yeah, indeed. All right, Dominic Mysterio is Rey Mysterio's son, Chris.
So I looked up this Rhea Ripley. Yeah, that could go. It depends on what pictures you look at. One of them, you're like, that's definitely a man. Then you're like, well, maybe not.
Yeah, she's pretty alluring right now, that's for sure. The funny thing about the Dominic Mysterio thing is a little while back he started fighting with his dad, and the crowd didn't like that. Like, they probably shouldn't have done the Dominic versus Rey Mysterio thing because it's kind of backfired on him. So every time Dominic takes a microphone in the middle of the ring, the crowd boos so loud you can't hear him talk.
Yeah, honestly, the reaction that we were talking about with LA Knight is the exact opposite of the reaction with Dominic Mysterio.
NXT is where he's wrestling now, and the NXT show only holds 200-300 people, maybe.
Yeah.
They boo so loud you can't hear him on the mic. And so imagine what it's like when there's 15,000 people doing it.
Good Lord, he was like... It was like a dominatrix with her submissive.
Yeah, that's the whole line that they're
Yeah, I know, but it was so disgusting. I was like, oh my god, I wanted to reach through the screen and just slap the shit out of him. Like,
Yeah,
act like a man, you little bitch!
The mommy thing bothers me. Yeah.
The one thing that they did do intelligently is this guy Dominic Mysterio in the storyline ended up going to jail. So he was in jail for 15 minutes. You know,
I think it was an hour.
Yeah, they're long enough to book him and then let him go. You know what I mean? And so he turned that into, I was in prison and now I'm a hard prison gangster. They had him dressed like a straight Latino gangster, like dangerous type of stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with how gangs work, but if you're not in one, you better not dress like one. Yeah, and this guy was not. This guy wasn't like dressed like a poser or something. He looked like somebody off the street corner, and I think somebody got to WWE and was like, "You're gonna get this guy killed if you don't get this stuff off him." They only did it for about 2 weeks, then they stopped, and then now they're still going with the Amos in prison and all this kind of stuff, but they cut the Latino gangster out stuff real fast.
Yeah, they even had a little teardrop eye, little below his eye and shit.
And the best part is, when you look at Dominic Mysterio, he's in his early 20s. A dude has a baby face. If anybody ever had a baby face, Dominic Mysterio has a baby face. He looks like a little kid on his head on a man's body.
Well, so does Rey Mysterio.
No, Ray didn't look like a baby.
I don't know. Something back in his early days he did when he was wrestling.
Well, he looked younger than what he was, but he didn't look like a little kid like Dominic does. Dominic literally looks like a little kid's face on a man's body. If you were to shrink Dominic Mysterio down to maybe like 4 foot and say he was only 5, 6 years old, I would believe you. He wouldn't look like a midget. He'd look like He'd look like a 5 or 6 year old kid. You know, 5 or 6 year old kid with tattoos, mind you, but still.
That's been in prison for 1 hour.
In the weird wrestling stories of the week, I was watching a video that Coldaholic did. They do these countdown videos of weird. It was like weird things or something that happened in wrestling, and it had something to do with women's wrestling or something. I forget what the hell it was. This is the one part that stuck out to me. Back in the early 2000s, Vince McMahon had a stable of women's wrestlers that he called his devils or something like that. It was Tori Wilson, Victoria, and Candice Michelle. And they had this dog that was their sidekick. And apparently this dog had a tramp stamp. And apparently, in some states, that is 100% legal to have done to your dog.
Stop. Rewind. What?
Yeah, that was my reaction as well.
Somebody had a tattoo put on a dog? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, God.
This little poodle had a tramp stamp.
Well, whoever tramp stamped your poodle, I've got 3 dogs over here that I dare you to try that with.
Yeah. Apparently, the guy that was narrating the video was like, apparently in some states in the United States this is legal, and in other states it's animal cruelty. Apparently, wherever this segment of Raw, I think it was a Raw episode that they were looking at, or something along those lines, was in one of those states where it is legal to have a tattoo put on your dog. Well, some places they'll tattoo like a number on the dog in case the dog runs away.
Well,
You can trace it. But that wasn't that kind of tattoo.
What they'll do too is when they do a vasectomy, or not a vasectomy, spay and neuter, they'll do a little tattoo to show that it's my female dog. When she lays on her stomach, she's got a little blue tattoo right down in that area, which now it's the surgery spot. That's where they did their thing for her. I didn't know that, so for the first year we had her, I'm sitting there going, why won't this blue stuff come off the dog? And then he asked the vet, and she was like, oh, yeah, that's a tattoo from the spaying or whatever they do.
Yeah, I guess if she gets out and gets lost or something, and if they catch her, they know that she's been taken care of too. Because some of them, depending on what state you're in, if they catch your dog, they'll automatically spay and neuter them if they're not picked up within a certain time period. Something for you to keep in mind too if you plan on ever breeding a dog. I forget what state it was. It wasn't that long ago. They got sued because animal control had this really expensive dog. I forget if it was spayed or neutered, but they had them fixed. And the dog got out. There was a breeder's dog. And they were getting ready to breed it with somebody. The dog had gotten out, and they were looking for the dog. And like a day later, they went to look and see if they found her in the pound. They had already did the surgery to this dog, and they had to pay these people millions of dollars. The county that it happened in. They were going to, I can't remember if it was a male or female that they owned, but they were going to breed it with somebody else's dog, and they were going to make millions of dollars off the deal. And because of what the county did, they lost all that money, so they sued them, and they got a lot of money out of the county. I bet people's property taxes went up that year. School taxes. Something like they lost $2 million and they won like $5 or $10 million in the case.
I would hit them up once a year. Well, we was gonna breed her again this year. Was planning on doing it every year.
Off topic, but when I heard you say money and stuff like that, what I heard the other day on the news, you know that golfer Phil Mickelson?
Mm-hmm.
That dude is so addicted to gambling. He has gambled, and they think in the total of $1 billion.
Oh, I can believe it.
Crazy gambling. Like, he bet on every single baseball game that was played one day and lost something like $300 million. He's making bets like $100,000 bets. You know, if he loses, he loses 100 grand. If he wins, he only wins like 110 grand. He's waging 100 grand to win 10 grand, and
yeah, it's 100 to 1 odds,
and losing and not caring. 3-4 times in a row that day, like $1 billion. I heard this dude will bet on anything at any time. The craziest bets you've like ever heard of. He tried to do something like the you know, like the basketball tournaments or whatever for college or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like March
before
Madness.
March Madness. I guess he tried to do something like bet on every single team in like Vegas, whoever wouldn't let him do it. That's just insane. Even if the math doesn't work out, you're always going to lose, and he bets it anyways.
Depends on the odds. Like if you take the underdog and say the odds are at 100 to 1 and you're betting the same amount, you're going to break even at worst.
Yeah, that's insane.
I'm not saying it's not crazy. I'm saying it is possible to bet on both teams and still come out with the win. Not as much as if you only bet on one of the teams, but still.
Shit, it hurts me playing the dollar lottery.
Yeah,
You know, right?
I don't know how your mind could wrap it around to just like not just make $1 million bets, but like make $100 million bet. You know, that's just crazy.
The thing is, he makes so much money. It's unreal how much some of these pro golfers make. Especially with him signing with that Middle Eastern Golf League, not the PGA, where he's got a guaranteed monetary contract from him, where he's making like $1 billion per season just to go play golf over in, I think it's in Dubai or somewhere over there. And that doesn't include his personal sponsorships that he's got from like Bentley and all these other companies.
Yeah, it's Live Golf. I think it's the Saudi Arabian company.
One year during the height of his status in the PGA, Tiger Woods made $1 billion just off of sponsorship deals. These golfers are making insane amounts of money. If you're one of the top tier golfers, it's absolutely crazy how much money these guys are making. Well, we've gone over the 2 hour mark. And anything else you guys want to talk about before we get out of here? Anyone?
What's that, Rich?
I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good too.
You at the 2 hour mark, Rich?
Yeah, we're at 2 hours and 5 minutes.
So. 200 hours?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was looking the other day when I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I got over 300 hours in that game, and I'm not even done with it yet.
Dude, I played EverQuest for like over 10 years. Like non-stop, daily, every free time. And hadn't done it here for 15 years. And last year, I built this computer and everything brand new to play EverQuest. And, I've maybe played it a little bit, but like, that was only for like a week or two, and then I've never played it again.
300 hours for a single-person RPG game. That's a lot of time.
I wish I had my time back from EverQuest.
The amount of time you said you put into EverQuest, about that same time period I was putting about as much time into MechWarrior 3, so don't feel bad. Every waking hour I was on the computer playing MechWarrior 3 if I was home. So.
I made it one time when we used to have Magello charts for my server. My server had anywhere around like 400,000 or 500,000 people on my server, and for the type of character I was, because I got with the good gun, I was ranked like, I think the highest I ever got was like 24th. I was the 24th highest player sitting there in a field of like 500,000. I laid a smackdown on your candy ass.
Yeah, for a little bit I was crazy playing World of Warcraft. Like when it first came out, and then into the first expansion for it. But that game got expensive. It's like $10 a month back then to play.
It's a shame you didn't have a 20% discount like you do with Blackout Coffee Company.
Yeah, I know, right? But no, Blizzard's too much of a bunch of cheapskates to give anybody discounts. I had some fun playing World of Warcraft, though. And for World of Warcraft, I went to play my daughter, and with my daughter, we would play Star Wars: The Old Republic. That was pretty fun for a little while.
I could never get into World of Warcraft. I tried. It was just like, compared to EverQuest, it was like
cartoony.
Yeah, more like it was more like easier to play. It was more.
Yeah, it's a different type of game.
It was easier to play. It was more cartoony. It was everything like EverQuest. You better have a computer, a printer with 10 times more ink than everybody in the world, filing cabinets. I mean, you research. You can't do nothing without, like, you get on that game and you want to do something that's only going to take 15 minutes. It would take like hours of preparation to get there.
Yeah, well, you could get that with World of Warcraft too if you went and were doing the crafting. Like a lot of people in that game, they won't go and do like the PvE or the PvP stuff. They'll level their character up, and then they'll just go farm resources and shit and manufacture stuff to sell to the other players. That takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it was fun though. I don't remember. I make sure they got it, but EverQuest, we had what was called raids, special missions,
Yeah, they had that.
and like to get special rewards, where like say I'm trying to accomplish a certain thing and I need this one reward from one mob. To kill that mob, you would bring in gangs of like literally we'd have to divide them in groups. We'd have 4 or 5 groups of like 20 or 30 people, and we'd hop on this mob, and you would literally beat it for an hour.
Oh yeah.
Not like a 1 minute, 2 minute kill. 100 of you beating on this thing for an hour, and every one of you is like one strike away from death yourself the whole
Yeah.
time.
World of Warcraft was like that, man. I remember when
For one person or two, well, it would give you like you could get 4 or 5 good things, but they were going to be different. But like 100, you had to get 100 friends, like on YouTube, get them on a chat, get them to go donate 4 or 5 hours a time, fight a million shit to get to this big guy at the end, and then fight him for an hour and try not to get killed. And just so like Jason could get his, amulet or something. That
Oh
he
yeah,
needed from it.
World of Warcraft was like that too, man. I remember when the first expansion came out, and everybody who had reached endgame in the base game was going into the new expansion area to level up and stuff, and then finally getting to go in to take on Illidan at the end of the endgame raid for that. Dude, he would wipe parties in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, hours of work down in a second. Bam. Hit once, half your life's gone. Hit twice, the other half's gone. You're dead. And then you got to sit there and lay there and watch like 100 of your friends get slowly slaughtered in the same fashion.
Yeah, in World of Warcraft, the most that you could get in a raid was 40 people. And you'd take 40 people through this castle where you had to go and take on sub bosses and stuff before you even got to Illidan. You beat all those guys, you get to Illidan, you've got your party fully rested and healed up finally. You go to fight Illidan and then boom, you're all dead. Don't even know what the hell hit you.
I know Candy Crunch was a hard motherfucker to play too. I played that about 2 years.
I can't get in trouble for it because nobody's from that's dealing with this. But the reason I had so much success and the people I was with,
it was all you.
We had illegal third-party programs running our games.
Uh-huh.
It was actually like when it came from their server and was supposed to be just to come into your computer. We had it directing going to another server that we could unlock all the game secrets like a game manager, and then come back to us. And I didn't have it for years though. But once I had it, I didn't care if I got caught; they'd have banned me. But that's how we sort of semi-cheated. You can't get around fighting, but you can get around about everything else. Like say there's a guy in the bottom of a dungeon, and you got to get your ass all the way there, right? Well, not to mention traveling from zone to zone, running and walking. You know what I mean? But like, say there was even a thing, and like you got to fight 100 things to get there, and like this one sees invisible, and this one don't, and everything. I had the ability just to type in that mob's name and hit enter, and it instantly transported my character right there to him. Bam! Right in front of him. I could skip the whole zone of everything. But if I got caught, woo! But that's how we had a lot of cheating third-party programs and shit like that. But oh well, I was a cheater, but I was successful at it. Whatever.
Anyway, guess that'll do it for tonight. Got anything you want to plug before we get out of here, Jason?
No, that's actually like a painter's job. I don't really do that. I'd help out if you needed it, but I generally do the nailing.
Didn't you say you wanted to start up your show again or something?
Yeah, thinking hard about it, trying to make some plans. I reached out to a lot of people for some help, but yeah, I might bring back the Monday Moaning Ground. Open topic chat.
Name what 2 things I can say to get you motivated. It was Joe Biden said he got F-15s and nukes. Come get him.
I think we. Thanks for bringing that up. You forgot about the taking a car ride in Dallas too. That episode has been removed from YouTube, so you can't actually. I
Can't
don't know what you're
imagine
talking
why.
about. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks.
but this is not gonna see. That was truly ranty. Like you got to remember that was back in the days of you could win the fired up some bitch of the week too.
Oh, okay.
So you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Uh, that was back in those days.
I
Things are
don't remember
different now.
I don't know if I ever won that or not. I came close.
I won that 2 weeks in a row. Thank you.
Yeah.
Somebody
Well,
should start that up again there, Jason.
yeah. Well, see, this one's gonna be kind of really professional, and let's laugh and have fun. Don't really need to hear me bitching to where like I'm seriously mad and like fighting and shit.
Yeah,
We're not going to be doing that on this one. This
the
is going
Joe
to be like professional.
the Joe Biden episode was. I thought you might have ended up in. I thought you were gonna end up with some people knocking on your door that day. You were pretty pissed.
Dude, I hardly ever been so mad in my entire life as that. But you got to understand what time period it was. He just got in there, and I refused to watch or listen to any news. I would not acknowledge that man. And then one day I had to hear it, and he was coming after the Second Amendment like that. I lost it, dude. I snapped. Can't help myself. I came home, got beer. I think I started calling you up. Like, I'm ready to fucking vent now, man. Here's a show link and shit. And yeah, I was pretty fired up, man. I was pissed for the President of the United States to say those words. And hell, now he said it so much we're like used to it. Like, yeah, whatever. What's new? Yeah. But the first time I ever heard it, I admit I took it a little too far. It hit me. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I had a bad day before I seen that. I don't know. But that was out of line. That was over the line. But, yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
That was a good times, man.
I think I won the award the weekend I went off on Warsaw Patriot on G23 show.
I think I was pretty drunk on a New Year's one I did too. And I probably should have shut the microphone off about 3 or 4 hours before I did. I think the New Year's one wasn't probably appropriate for everyone either.
The two wound up some bitches I won midnight put in the special thing because I don't get much above the way I am right now. So he gave me the calmness wound up some bitch. And then he also gave me the fact that I didn't cuss anybody out.
I think I won it the week I won it when I told off Warsaw, because I told off Warsaw in defense of Midnight. You remember, King, because you said you were in the audience cheering up.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I tore into Warsaw so hard.
We love you, Warsaw, but man.
You might still need some burn cream after that one. I think I called him every name in the goddamn book that night. I was pissed.
I don't think that there's probably not very many people in our group that haven't told Warsaw off.
Yeah, I don't think any of them told him off like I did, though. I was going for a good 20 solid minutes just tearing into him.
Yeah, those was the good old days, man. Fired up some bitch of the week. Yeah.
Chris wasn't there, so to give you the backstory, Midnight had an AK that he had put the optic on the handguard, and Warsaw would just not leave him alone about this. This wasn't just one chat. This was going on for about a month, and he started doing it on G23 show, and Midnight wasn't the confrontational kind of guy. He wouldn't tell Warsaw to back off or anything like that. He would just take it. And I had enough. And I just tore into him so bad that night.
I could see that happening. Um, yeah.
All right. Well, your turn, Chris. Anything you want to plug or anything?
Not really, man. Just thanks for having me on. This was fun hanging out with you guys tonight. And there may be a video Thursday coming out with Jason and I reviewing a new Beretta. And that's what I got. But yeah, definitely would like to come on and do one of the pay-per-view shows with you guys or whatever. I think it'd be fun.
All right. Next one probably won't be till September because I don't think WWE has anything. In the next AEW one, like I said, these guys are going to be at work. It's going to be in the middle of the day.
Yeah, Chris, but we're doing the OSU Notre Dame game here. It's September.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we did that last year.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to do that.
Yeah, brother, because I'm all alone. Every one of these other guys is Notre Dame.
Yeah, we had Gizzard on too for that one. We did that last year. So. Last year was the first game of the season. This time it's like what, second or third week into the season, Jason?
Fourth or fifth. It's like more games for Notre Dame, but it's only like the third
I know it's
game
I know it's
for
early
OSU.
in the season. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
I still think it's in I think it's late September when that game is. I have to check the schedule. Get back.
Yeah, mid late September. But like I think Notre Dame plays an early game. I think hell here before too long. Maybe this coming week Notre Dame plays because they start theirs like August 25th, 6th, something like that.
Yeah, that'll be next weekend, I think. Yeah, next Saturday is the 26th. So.
But yeah, definitely Chris have to come in on that for the football game.
Yeah. I'll send you a link tomorrow if you want to jump in on tomorrow night's show, Chris. You're always welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, Sundays are bad for me. Sundays are gotta spend the time with the wife. That's why I don't do hardly any shows on Sunday. That's about the only day her and I get together.
Yeah, that's why Obi doesn't jump in on my Sunday shows because that's his day with his wife too. So I get it. That's not a problem. All right, Kingpin, about you, brother? Anything you want to plug or anything?
Oh, no, just shout out to Chris for joining us and, good times.
All right. Yeah, what about you, Buck?
Blackout coffee.
Yes, Blackout Coffee.
Yeah, blackout coffee.
Link down below, 20% off if you use RichW20 for code. I give you more off than what Guns and Gadgets does, and he's a goddamn co-owner of the company.
That's true. Now that I think about it, yeah, you did get more off.
Yeah, he only gives you 10%. All right, sorry, Buck. Go ahead.
I think I'm trying to do a couple of videos this week. I got one on that new tripod I got, and probably take the 6.5 Grinnell out and the 450 Bushmaster. So hopefully I have three different videos on that sometime this week.
Yep, keep putting them videos out, Buck. Man, I enjoy watching them videos. You do a good job with those.
Yeah, I'm kind of having a little bit of fun. Still learning all the editing part of it. But I'm going to try that picture-in-picture next time.
Well, you got my phone number. You ever need any help with anything, you just call or text me.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, I can do that. Thanks for the invite again, Rich. It's been a right good show.
Yeah, we covered few topics when
Yeah, we
little
talk
off
more
the track.
wrestling this time than what we do all the other times.
We always end up going off the track somewhere or another.
Yeah,
Usually it's Jason's fault.
I know. I was getting ready to say that, but I ain't want to put him under the bus.
Oh, dude, you back up over me. I don't care.
I mean, the episode of This Week Unloaded 2 weeks ago where it really went off the rails, there was 2 Jasons that were at fault.
Oh yeah, that was the other one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
we
was a
should
good
do that again.
Something about these people named Jason. I don't know what it is, man.
Well, don't blame me, Rich. It's like I didn't have much choice in the matter.
Hey, you could go legally change your name. Don't give me that shit.
I kind of already did, but I didn't pick the Jason part. But
See, so it is your fault. You changed everything but the Jason part. See? So
Yeah.
who's at fault here?
my real name's Junior, Rich. You're talking about my fucking dad now, man.
Hey, man, my dad was a son of a bitch. What do you want me to do?
At least I'm not a boy named Sue.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I guess it's my turn. Go check out the short I did last week over on the Unlimited Media channel with my SBR. With the hell stock I got? Bravo Company. That's what it is. I got the package here somewhere. Well, I did. Oh, there it is. Damn, I hate this. Believe it or not, there's not as much light where I'm at. If you look at the camera, it looks like there's a lot of light right by me, right? That's all coming off my damn webcam. There is very little light where I'm at. Yeah, it's BCM, Bravo Company, the Gunfighter, Mod 1, SOP Mod. Pretty nice stock. Didn't cost a lot either. Cheaper than I thought it was going to be. But, yeah, if you haven't seen that short, go check that out. And be sure to check out tomorrow night's This Week Unloaded over on the Unloaded Media channel. And Gary should be back doing his show this week, I believe. Didn't do one this past Friday, which would have been yesterday, now that I think about it. But, yeah, probably be there on Friday, so you can check that out. And then during the week, I don't know what else I'll be doing, if anything, this week. So, I guess until next weekend, we will catch y'all later, or till tomorrow, actually. God, it's only Saturday. I'm thinking it's Sunday. Giving you the goddamn closing arguments for This Week Unloaded instead of the wrestling show. Check out This Week Unloaded tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. on the Unloaded Media channel. Until then, have a good night, everybody. We will catch y'all later. And here's Randy Savage with my face making a fool of himself, as usual.
Yeah.
You guys are probably really scared right now, and I understand that completely. But I get the better of the deal, and even though it's 3 versus 2, you guys are outnumbered because we're better than you guys. Yeah, we are. We're legends in our own mind compared to you guys. Even though you guys got the egos, we have got the wrestling skill. And this guy right here,